Well, it's 2019, and there's one thing that I know for sure about being a gamer, and that's about the time, that 5-6 year mark when people start getting that itch for true next generation hardware. And it looks like we might be getting a lot more information, a lot more legit information. And if you guys watched Xbox Nation podcast last night, we talked a little bit about some of this stuff with the developer, the Don, and he dropped some information about some factual PlayStation hardware actually being out there, some PlayStation dev kits and things like that. And that to me was pretty important, as well as we know that there's some Xbox things that are out there as well. Now, with that being said, Digital Foundry is talking about the next generation consoles and these leaks and how we can expect more leaks and more information as the days, weeks, and months keep coming about, and the closer we get, the more reliable and logistical sense a lot of these leaks will actually make. So for me personally, I haven't heard anything that was too out of the ordinary. A lot of this is just guesswork from some of the people that quote leak stuff. So you got to be careful. Now, when some of these more reputable sites get the information, then I think that's when we start to see some legit and some legitimacy to some of these leaks, and that's what I most look forward to. So according to Digital Foundry, next-gen consoles are in development. The hardware, in fact, does exist, and it's actually already being demonstrated. And according to them, they want to bring people reliable information. They say for sure there will be leaks this year, many leaks, but are they true, false, or a mixture of both? And they sort of talking about that a little bit in depth, and I think that's very important. When you see stuff like Xbox this, 20 T-flops, that's obviously completely false. When you see like PlayStation 5, 29 teraflops, that's pretty easy to kind of distinguish that those are very false leaks. Now, what's more interesting is when we get the more the more even leaks, and I think that's what we're starting to get when it comes to Xbox, right? The thing with Microsoft is that gives them, I think, a little bit of an edge with some of their leaks is the fact that we have this bad situation where people might be leaking what they hear, and that's a different Xbox, right? So we know that Microsoft has a diskless Xbox, right? We know that Microsoft has a less powerful next-gen Xbox. We know that they're going to have a more powerful next-gen Xbox. They're going to have multiple SKUs. So that's something that's going to throw some people off in terms of what we see and what we hear from Microsoft, right? So that's why those leaks can seem scattered. As somebody who got documents for both the PlayStation Neo and the Scorpio well ahead of time, and if you follow this channel for any length of time, you know that's legit, because I even shared this information with people like Dealer Gaming, and he'll 100% vouch for this. D-Batch, some of these guys have seen this stuff. I was talking about a lot of this information well before a lot of these other, even the more reputable sites, right? And the thing is, it's easy to nail down when you only have one piece of hardware. When you have multiple pieces, it's not as easy. So Microsoft could have a mismatch of information. Somebody just sees something over somebody's shoulder. Oh man, 14 T-flops, holy cow. Well, which one is that? Is that the lesser one, or is that the newer one? You see something else. Solid state drive, well, maybe that's just something that they aren't actually doing. But they were maybe tech demoing or something along those lines. When it comes to PlayStation, it looks more and more like Sony is just going to do one single console. And maybe that's not a bad thing. I think there's going to be a place for that more traditional, you're going to feel at home, here's this console, we've got this console, you're used to this one console. It's your it's your security blanket. Oh, it's nice, it's warm, it's soft, it's cuddly. You like this one thing, right? It's great. Microsoft, on the other hand, pushing the envelope, trying to do their very best at getting people excited about the future, and the future is multiple SKUs. And what we've seen lately from like the GDC reports and things like that, it looks like Microsoft, in fact, has a lot of first-party developers already working on next-gen consoles, and while only 19% of developers overall are working on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, we're still going to see some carryover on Microsoft's side, because they might still do forward compatibility. And what forward compatibility allows them to do is scale things. So not necessarily, the the situation that a lot of people want when they think of next gen, right? A lot of people think it's going to be held back. I don't necessarily think it's going to be held back. I guess we'd have to wait and see what developers think. I do think that there could be a situation where people get a little bit confused, where that's kind of concerned, right? We could see a little bit of confusion where there's too many SKUs or something along those lines. But the fact that we're going to have so many different options, I don't really think that that's a bad thing. I actually think options is a good thing. I just think that Microsoft has to be careful not to confuse the masses. And the most important thing for Microsoft also would be, hey, get the games out there, right? If you have games, everything else kind of follows. And I think that that's realistically what people are excited about, right? Like the games. I think that their new studios are really going to show off what they have to work with, and the fact that they're going to be pushing. I think as Xbox fans, we've got to be ready for the fact that they're not just going to be pushing Xbox anymore. They're going to be pushing their services. They're going to be pushing, hey, we don't care if you're playing your Xbox games on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, on your Xbox, on your refrigerator, on your toilet, whatever's smart. You're going to be able to play your Xbox games there, and I think that's something that Microsoft has a huge advantage for. If we look at their recent earnings, their cloud stuff was up way up, right? Like that's their moneymaker now. And Xbox through cloud stuff is going to make them a lot of money for the future. And Sony is going to try to copy that. They're going to definitely try to go out there and sort of copy that. But I think Sony is going more traditional, where they're going to do the one console and then they might do a mid-gen upgrade, right? So I think both these companies like that whole phone model, and we've seen this other leak through Sony as well. Is it legit? I don't know. Like, are Reddit leaks legit? Is some of them could be. It says that Sony's official announcement is going to be at PSX in the first quarter of 2020, when usually PSX is late at the end of the year. So maybe that's not. And their PS5 99% released November 2020. Both of these consoles, if I had to guess, 99.999% chance that they're going to release in November of 2020. Both the next Xbox and the PlayStation 5. Backwards compatibility is a given with Microsoft. Is it a given with Sony? Yes. The PlayStation 4 the games will be backwards compatible. Probably not PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1. I don't really know. That stuff with 8K upscaling makes absolutely no sense why you would do that, considering nobody owns an 8K TV. So you have to really kind of pick and choose what you're going to really believe in, like solid-state drives, right? That does reduce load times, but these consoles themselves are supposedly going to be powerful enough to help do that and have things in there to help do that. Solid-state drives are still rather expensive. Are we really going to add that expense to our consoles? They're going to be expensive enough if you think about it, right? So I do think that we're going to get, more. We need more storage, right? So they would have to have, if they're going to do solid-state drives, they would probably have to have multiple drives, because solid-state drives are not only expensive, but it's hard to get them in, the larger sizes. So they would have to have a solid-state drive possibly, and then another drive or whatever. So for me personally, I think that's kind of a bunk rumor and always has been. And what we're going to see is kind of more traditional things. And Microsoft has done a fantastic job at getting people on board with their future. Like Netflix is a big thing. We all looked forward to Stranger Things. I think Microsoft wants people to look forward to their releases just as much, but in a gaming sense. And I think, as the leaks become more and more evident and prevalent, we're going to start to see more and more games. They're not done buying studios. They're not done making games. They're not done. And I think Sony's got a tough battle too. I mean, they're used to doing things. They're fighting an uphill battle as well. I know they easily won this generation, but just look how quickly things change for them. You go from last place to first place. You can just as easily go back down to last place. So Sony has to be very diligent. Sony has to be very, very careful with what they do and how they do it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this all works out and plays out. But expect a lot of leaks, and some of them are going to be real, some of them aren't going to be. So just kind of, I guess, pay attention and do your due diligence as fans and things like this. I do my best, and I tell you guys if it's a rumor, and I always say, hey, it's a rumor, make sure you guys take it with a grain of salt until confirmed by these companies specifically. So that's how I always look at this stuff, and always look forward to seeing the new stuff. I love hardware. I love hearing about the new hardware and the new games and things like that, so it's very exciting for me. I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions. If you guys enjoy the content, please like, share, subscribe. Consider hitting that bell so you're notified of all the content as soon as it drops. I will link this so you guys can check it out for yourselves and let me know what you think. Please have a great day. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.